That thing spoke to them, and not with a human voice. Its voice was hollow, dry like the echo from an empty coffin. It said a single sentence, only one. You made the pact, now you pay for it. And after that they would wake up drenched in sweat, their nails digging into the sheets, their eyes searching the shadows of the room, a product of their madness. Those who tied you with rotten red threads, those who lit black candles with your name written on parchments stained with saliva and cemetery earth, are now paying with their own sanity, because all the witchcraft they unleashed against you has now turned back on them like an untamable beast. You were protected, although you didn't know it. Your guardian angels, led by St. Michael with his sword of fire, and St. Gabriel with his seals of hidden knowledge, formed an invisible wall. And what seemed like harm was just the rebound of a poorly cast spell. One of them, the one who held the most resentment, began to hear voices at night. At first, he thought it was his mind, but then the voices began to speak in a language he didn't even understand. His eyes turned glassy, his skin began to sweat cold, even with his body wrapped in blankets. And when he closed his eyes, there you were in his mind, shining, untouchable, unbreakable, immune. That mirror they used against you shattered into 4 pieces, just after midnight, just after they repeated your name as if you were an enemy. But they didn't know that your energy was no longer that of a simple soul. You had been consecrated without realizing it, because every tear you shed, every injustice you experienced, was an offering your angels raised to heaven. And now the sentence is being executed. St. Michael asks that if this resonates with you, if you feel that what you are hearing is a confirmation of everything they took from you, write the words, "It turned back on them," in the comments. By doing so, you activate the channel of energetic return. It is your way of opening the portal of restitution and sealing the punishment that has already begun. Give it a like if your soul felt that pressure in your chest, because that wasn't anxiety, that was a sign. And subscribe, not to follow a channel, but to leave a record that you are ready to witness the judgment now falling upon them like a silent plague. Listen to me closely. One of them has started having hallucinations. He doesn't sleep, he can't eat. He talks about shadows following him, and there's something else, something no one expected. One of those involved was possessed in the early hours of the morning, and what he said under a trance is going to put your name at the center of a spiritual war that is about to erupt. What they sowed in the dark is now growing inside them like poison ivy. They can't stop it, they can't deny it. The spirit of the spell got into their house and their flesh. It's no longer a simple energy. It's an entity that smells of old saliva, burnt wax, and cursed holy ground. Last night, one of them woke up at 3:33, the number of the inverted echo, the point where dimensions cross. He sat up with his forehead soaked and his eyes wide like empty plates. He screamed your name. He screamed it as if he were pulling it from his stomach. He screamed it as if he were spitting it out in the midst of a possession, because he no longer controls what comes out of his mouth. Because you, without doing anything, have become the figure the universe is using to execute the punishment. The walls of that house are vibrating. The air feels thick. The witchcraft they once activated with symbolic burials, with figures tied with hair and rusty nails, with ill-intentioned prayers said in front of a smoky mirror, now speaks to them. One of them, the weakest, grabbed a knife and began to write your name on the wall with his own blood. He repeated it 3 times, then 4, then 6, and then he began to laugh. Hollow laughs, as if someone else's laughter was coming out of his body. And the most terrifying part, you weren't even thinking about him. You didn't call him, you didn't dream of him, but your energy reached him all the same, like an invisible sword plunged into the center of his obsession. What they did to you did not go unpunished. The universe is returning everything, not for revenge, but for balance. And you are witnessing how the unwritten word is fulfilled. Therefore, if you feel this piercing your chest like a revelation, comment now with the words, "The judgment has already begun." Don't think about it. Write it as a decree, because St. Gabriel needs your confirmation to seal the channel of hidden knowledge that was denied to you for years. Every comment, every word spoken from the soul, is an act of power that opens the gates of heaven and closes the cracks of hell. And if you're feeling chills while hearing this, don't ignore it. Give it a like, not as a reaction, but as a symbolic act. By doing so, You are pushing out everything they wanted to bury inside you. And subscribing isn't just following this channel. It's declaring that you are ready to walk under the protection of Saint Michael, sword held high, cutting the invisible ties that wanted to bind you to the abyss, and there's more. Because while that man was writing your name on the wall, another of those involved began to have dreams where you speak to him. But you don't speak with your voice. You speak with your gaze, you speak with fire. And there's a phrase that repeats, a phrase that is driving him mad. Everything you took from me will be taken from you 7 times. And right there, the worst begins, because now the material things they stole through energy, bindings and manipulations, are starting to disappear. The bank accounts, the properties, the contracts, everything is being consumed by the same shadow they invoked. And one of them, the one who mocked you the most, is going to lose everything in less than 7 days. Not just financially. He is going to lose something much darker and more personal, too. You were at peace, breathing without fear, walking toward your destiny, guided by your guardian angels. Meanwhile, in another house, at a table full of food and false smiles, all hell broke loose. Nobody expected it. They were all eating as if nothing was wrong, toasting to an achievement that wasn't real, celebrating something built on rotten foundations. But in that instant, the cursed spell they cast against you manifested as a burning tongue that came down from the ceiling and went into the throat of one of them. The quietest one. The most hypocritical first. It was laughter, then random meaningless words. But what came next was a scene straight from the underworld. He stood up from his chair, looked each of them in the eyes with a crooked smile and a strange voice, as if inhabited by something else. He said, "I wanted to destroy her life, but now they are taking mine." And at that moment, a glass shattered without anyone touching it. The lights flickered. A dog outside began to howl nonstop. No one could believe it. They were facing an involuntary confession dictated by the very demon they invoked in the ritual where they used your name. No one finished lunch that day. They left in silence. No one ever brought up the subject again, but you will feel it. Because from that moment on, that house is sealed by a curse that can no longer be reversed. What they invoked against you did not go into a void. It was returned to them like a dirty, broken, rusty mirror, reflecting everything they wanted to hide. And now that person can no longer look anyone in the eye, because something got into their soul and showed them everything you lived through in silence. Every tear of yours now appears to him as a blade. Every night you spent in fear now stabs him like a needle under the skin. You didn't ask for revenge, but the universe took care of the balance. Your guardian angels, Saint Michael in a battle stance, Saint Gabriel with the sacred seal on his forehead, were witnesses to every attempt to bury you, every twisted prayer they launched against you. And now, everything they asked for at their dark altars is being delivered to them as a sentence. Therefore, if you felt a shudder while listening to this, comment now with the phrase, "Justice has spoken." Write it as a sign of connection with the divine. Saint Michael needs you to decree it to activate your field of total protection. Every comment opens a new layer of the energetic shield. Give it a like if you felt that something strange is in the air, if someone is watching you from a distance, if you felt eyes following you, because that isn't paranoia. It's them watching you rise as they sink. And subscribe if your soul is awakening, if you have understood that nothing was a coincidence. This way, you ensure you don't miss any warning your angels send through this channel. And listen closely, because after that possession, something else happened. That same night, someone from their circle dreamed of you. But it wasn't a common dream. It was a vision. In it, you had a crown of fire on your head and were walking on a river of blood. But the most chilling part is that in your hand, you held a box. And inside that box was the darkest secret they have wanted to hide for years. And that secret is about to come to light. And just when they thought it was all over, the darkest part began. That same night, the energy opened up like a portal, an invisible one that cannot be closed with empty prayers or supermarket incense. The pact they sealed with your name was written on a plane they did not understand. They activated it with saliva, with ash, with cemetery earth gathered in silence. And now the price has arrived, with shape, with form, with presence. That dawn, all of them, one by one, without exception, had the same dream. No one told the other. None spoke at first for fear of sounding insane. But later, when the insomnia became unbearable, they began to confess. They all saw the same entity. A tall figure dressed in a black tunic, floating without touching the ground. It had no face, no hands, just a thick shadow that walked through their dreams with steps that made no noise but shook the soul. That thing spoke to them, and not with a human voice. Its voice was hollow, dry, like the echo from an empty coffin. It said a single sentence, only one. You made the pact, now you pay for it. And after that, they would wake up drenched in sweat, their nails digging into the sheets, their eyes searching the shadows of the room. They couldn't sleep anymore. They took turns staying awake. Some lit candles. Others went to seek help. One even made an appointment with a priest but wasn't seen. They said he was overwhelmed with similar cases, that there was a wave of people with the same pattern. Nightmares, visions, nervous attacks, all marked by the same origin. A broken spiritual pact. You didn't know it, but when they said your name in front of that black candle, the universe wrote it down on another plane. And not as a victim, but as a witness. As a sacred witness, your guardian angels. Yes. Saint Michael with his gleaming armor and Saint Gabriel with the torch of hidden knowledge were present. They sealed the field around you. They prevented the energy from touching you. That is why those who wanted to bury you are the same ones who cannot close their eyes without seeing you. And here comes the most chilling part. Because one of them, after dreaming of that figure for 3 nights in a row, fainted while lighting a white candle to cleanse himself. He fell to the floor convulsing, and as his body trembled, he murmured a phrase that terrified those around him. She didn't leave. She is protected by the fire of heaven. No one understood. No one knew he was talking about you. But you know, because that fire is real. And I'm not the one saying it. Your guides are saying it. The portals that are opening now are saying it. Saint Gabriel asks that if what you hear resounds in your chest like a warning, comment now with the words, "It is sealed." Write it with conviction, not out of habit. Write it like someone activating the invisible protection code. Give it a like if you felt that something powerful is happening behind the veil of reality. Because when you acknowledge what you intuit, the universe rewards you with clarity. And subscribing is not a simple act. It's a signal from you, an agreement that says, I am ready to receive the truth. Do it now, and you will see how your dreams are cleansed while theirs become contaminated. But this doesn't end here, because this entity, this faceless figure that appeared in their nightmares, did not come alone. The spell they activated opened a bigger door, and behind that door there is something else. There is an ancient shadow that has already recognized your name, and is looking for her. The woman who led the ritual against you. And she is not prepared for what is coming. There is someone who no longer distinguishes between day and night. One of them, one who actively participated in the symbolic burials where they used your name as bait. He was the one who put your photograph in a box wrapped with red thread and earth, believing they could lock you in there, as if your destiny depended on their spiritual trash. Today, that same individual cannot even stand in his own flesh. He became addicted to a strange substance, something that wasn't part of his life, but that he now consumes as if, with each dose, he could tear you out of his head. He says it's the only way he stops seeing you, because you, without being there, appear on every corner, in every reflection, in every stranger's face. He sees you in his bedroom window. He sees you crossing the street while he smokes. He hears you in the voice on the television, and you haven't done anything. You have been in silence, protected, covered by spiritual mantles that not just anyone can wear, because you were marked from the womb. You are not common. You have divine coverage. Your guardian angels, the real ones, those from the celestial throne, do not let you go for even a second. Saint Michael, with his flaming sword, circles around you like a sentinel of war, and Saint Gabriel has sealed your name in the book on high. That is why it doesn't matter how many times they say your name in their rituals, no matter how many times they light black candles, burn photos, write your story with a dirty pencil, because everything reverts back to them, turns on them, decomposes on them. That addiction is not accidental. It's the desperate attempt to silence what got inside them for opening a portal they didn't understand. What they pacted with their saliva is scraping their throats. What they sealed with their blood is poisoning their veins. And you are witnessing from a distance how every attempt at destruction transforms into an invisible whip that strikes them from within. And listen closely to this, because you are about to receive something very special. Soon, I will share a protection ritual with you that is not of this world. It is an ancient code, one that is given only to those who have been chosen to carry light in the midst of a field of darkness. And you are one of those souls. But for that ritual to take effect, you must first open the channel by commenting now with the phrase, "My light is indestructible." Write it, and your energy will begin to vibrate on another frequency, one where no binding can touch you. Give it a like if you feel the spiritual war is reaching its climax. If you've felt that everything has intensified lately, if your sleep has changed, or if there are names that return to your mind for no apparent reason. And subscribe if you want to be an active part of the circle of protection that is forming. I don't say this as a symbolic act. I say it because every person who joins activates a line of defense. And when you connect, St. Michael reinforces the shield. And when you are here, St. Gabriel opens the gate to the secrets they hid from you. But there is something else. Because the figure you saw in dreams, that faceless entity that spoke in the language of the ancients, has marked one of them. And that mark is not symbolic. That mark is already appearing on the body. And I warn you, that person has begun to have sores, and one of those sores has your initial engraved in raw flesh. The mirror where they sealed the ritual shattered on its own. Without anyone touching it, without any wind or tremor, it split into 7 diagonal lines, as if an invisible hand had cracked it from within. It was the same night the black cat they used as a living offering died. They had bathed it in oil, surrounded it with black salt and fresh cemetery earth. They wrote your name on its forehead with ritual ink. They wanted it to absorb your energy. They wanted to sacrifice it to steal your light. But what they didn't know is that you had already been claimed by the divine. When the cat fell dead in front of the altar, a cold wind blew inside the closed room, and one of them screamed, not because he was afraid, but because he saw something, a shadow standing behind the mirror just before it shattered. It was St. Michael. It was his burning presence manifesting. The angel of the sword had arrived not as a symbol, but as a force, cutting, sealing, making it clear that you are beyond the reach of all market stall witchcraft, every cheap binding, every spell paid for with dirty money. And as they were picking up the pieces of the mirror, one of them cut himself on the glass. He bled onto the stained floor. And since that day, that person has not slept peacefully again, because every night he dreams of a giant eye watching him from the corner of his room. An eye that doesn't blink. An eye that reminds him of what they tried to do to you, and how they failed. You are special. You are not here by accident. There is something inside you that is only carried by those who have survived energetic burials, deep betrayals, bindings disguised as love, and pacts they didn't sign but were still forced to carry. That is why today, by order of heaven, I must give you a ritual, a protection ritual that is only destined for the chosen. It is not granted to everyone, only to those who have been marked on high by the true guardians. This ritual is verbal. It is a decree. It is fire in the mouth to seal what no one can break. Listen carefully, and when you feel it vibrate in your chest, repeat it in a low voice or write it in the comments, because by doing so, you activate an invisible wall that will surround your energy with celestial fire. Protection Ritual. I decree in the name of the sacred fire that my soul is shielded by the angels of heaven, that no burial binding or spell can touch me, that my path is guarded by the burning sword of St. Michael and the illuminated voice of St. Gabriel, that every shadow that rises against me will fall without warning, that my name will not be sullied on dark altars, because it was already written in the book of the chosen. I declare my energy sealed, my peace untouchable, and my destiny unstoppable. So it is, so it was, and so it shall be. St. Michael indicates to me that those who decree these words and write them in the comments will enter a sacred current of protection. If you do it, it will not be just a symbolic act. It will be the beginning of a new energetic fence around your body, your house, your money, and your spirit. Give it a like if you feel this message arrived as divine confirmation, and subscribe now, because when you open this channel, hidden knowledge begins to flow into your life like a river that never runs dry. St. Gabriel has requested it so. But listen to this clearly, because what I am about to tell you now is not for just anyone. On the altar where they performed the ritual, something appeared that none of them expected. A strand of your hair that you never gave. No one knows how it got there, but the hair wasn't just hair. It was wrapped with a red thread, and when they unrolled it, inside there was a symbol written with a black feather, and that symbol is the same one that appeared on the skin of one of them while he slept, as if someone had tattooed it from the invisible world. The night that hair appeared with the cursed symbol, the atmosphere became dense, as if a cemetery had opened up right under their feet. It wasn't just any sign. It was an ancestral binding, an ancient pact sealed with black ink and invisible blood that not just anyone understands. That symbol appeared tattooed on the skin of one of them while he slept, a reminder tattooed by guardian angels and by the spirits who refuse to let you remain a victim. The mark is not only visible, but it burns, sears, and hurts as if the soul itself were screaming for justice. This person now lives in a restless torment. Every beat of his heart is a chain that binds him to the punishment he requested for you. It is the living condemnation, the reflection of the divine judgment being executed silently. They cannot understand it, but you do. You know that the power protecting you is not human. It is celestial. Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel, with their wings extended and their swords lit, guard your path, cutting every attempt at harm before it can touch your skin. That is why today you must repeat with me, not as a simple phrase, but as a decree that will be your shield in the invisible battle. My enemies fall one by one before the light of Saint Michael. My soul is wrapped in sacred fire, unbreakable and eternal. Bindings and spells turn to ash before my power. I walk protected by the guardian angels, and no shadow dares cross my path. Comment those words now. Let the energies activate within you. Give it a like if you feel the flame of justice already running through the veins of the universe in your favor. And subscribe so that the channel of hidden knowledge remains open, because as long as you are awake, darkness will have no place. But there is more. The mark that appeared is not just a sign of punishment. It is also a warning, because one of them has begun to lose control of his body. Screams are heard in the night, and it is said he is losing his mind. Something is being unleashed within him, something that not even medicine can explain. And that madness that overflows is not just his. It threatens to drag down those who believe they can handle forces they do not even comprehend. The madness of that man grows like a shadow devouring the light on a moonless night. He cannot control his words. He cannot control his movements. The guardian angels whisper that the possession is not just spiritual, but physical. His eyes turn glassy, and in his hands, invisible chains tremble, tightening their grip. Between whispers and laments, he has revealed secrets that not even his closest associates suspected. Secrets buried in dark rituals, broken bindings, and spiritual burials that are now his own condemnation. This madness, so intense and bizarre, is not accidental. It is the payment for every spell they cast against you, every curse they tried to lock away on parchments, every black candle they lit to extinguish your light. Because you don't just have angels, you have celestial warriors on your side, their armor shining in the darkness, breaking the chain of evil with every blow. Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel have extended their protection over you, creating an impenetrable shield that not even the darkest witchcraft can pierce. Therefore, today, at this crucial moment, I invite you to repeat with me the decree that will activate the protective energetic channel. I am invincible fire. I am eternal light. My enemies dissolve into shadows, and their chains fall broken. The guardian angels wrap me in their sacred mantle, and nothing can touch my spirit. Every binding, every spell turns to dust before my power. I walk with Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel, invincible and protected. Write those words in the comments right now. Allow the universe to hear your voice and the energy to align for your definitive victory. Give it a like if you feel how divine justice is already in motion in your favor. And subscribe, because only those who keep their faith active and the channel open can receive the celestial guidance sent to you today. But pay attention, because the unexpected twist is that this storm will not stop with just madness and punishment. Something darker, deeper, is beginning to awaken. The night turns even darker when the guardian angels reveal that behind all this madness and misery, there is a spiritual burial that no one saw coming. It is not a common burial, but an ancient sacrifice that awoke forgotten forces in the underworld, forces that now demand justice. The bindings they used to try to usurp your light not only backfired, but they turned into invisible chains that are tightening around those who dared to desecrate your sacred path, those who thought they were untouchable, who played with pacts sealed in black ink and spilled blood, are today prisoners in a labyrinth of shadows and nightmares. Their nights are a restless torment. Their bodies drag as if carrying the curse of all the rituals they launched against you. But you walk protected by the flaming sword of Saint Michael and the divine whisper of Saint Gabriel, who at every moment send purifying gusts of light to burn away every evil they tried to sow. Feel how this truth envelops you, and repeat with me this sacred decree that activates the energetic channel of absolute protection. I am eternal light in the midst of shadows. Every binding they tried against me is now their chain of punishment. My guardian angels envelop me with their invincible power, and the sacred fire of Saint Michael burns within me. I walk protected, invulnerable, and blessed. Write those words in the comments. Let the force of the universe respond to your call, and let your soul rise to new dimensions of power. Give it a like if your heart feels the power of this celestial justice, and subscribe to keep the connection open with the angels and the hidden knowledge that guides you today. But the most disturbing part is about to be revealed. Within that dark conspiracy, there is a figure who has not only lost their mind, but has begun to consume those around them with a force beyond human. A shadow within the shadow, a specter that threatens to unleash irreversible chaos. In the depths of the night, when silence is just a veil hiding the true chaos, your enemies no longer just face invisible punishments. Their own bodies are turning against them. One after another, madness consumes them like a slowly spilling poison, a poison woven with the dark threads of the bindings they tried to stab into your soul like a dagger. They don't understand that the universe has become an implacable judge, that every inverted spell is a sentence burning their lives from within, and that no burial or concealment will save them. The air is filled with whispers, with stifled screams that only the guardian angels can hear. Saint Michael, with his incandescent sword of light, and Saint Gabriel, with his voice that tears away the masks of deception, are deploying their celestial army to sweep away every trace of darkness they once believed was invincible. In the midst of this spiritual war, you stand firm, protected by an invisible shield that not even the most potent witchcraft can pierce. Feel that energy, that ancestral force running through your body that only those who are truly chosen can perceive. It is time for you to take your place and declare this powerful decree aloud, a key that opens the protective energetic channel and seals your victory. I am light that never goes out. I am sacred fire that consumes shadows. Every binding cast against me is now a chain that tightens on my enemies. The guardian angels envelop me with their mantle of power, and Saint Michael cuts any attempt at harm with his sword. My soul is shielded, my path is invincible. Comment those words now. Let the cosmos hear your voice, and let divine justice manifest forcefully in your favor. Give it a like if you feel how the angels are here to protect you, and subscribe to keep this connection active, which today brings you the hidden knowledge of the heavens. In the midst of this dark whirlwind, they tried to hurl at you with rotten bindings and cursed burials. You remain invincible. Because you are always blessed, you are always a winner. Although they believe they will sink you into shadow, they do not know that your guardian angels never abandon you, that Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel watch your every step with eyes of celestial fire. You are a spirit protected by forces they do not understand, by an invisible army that covers you with its light and turns every attempt at destruction into one more spark for your ascension. Today, I invite you to declare with the strength of your soul and with your voice ignited by faith. Let us exclaim together to the universe, to God, and to the protective angels that nothing and no one can put out this flame. Let your words become decrees that resonate on all planes. Let each syllable open the energetic channel of absolute protection. Because the power you have is greater than any spell, stronger than the evil they sought to invoke against you. It is the power of one who knows that victory is written in their destiny, that divine justice does not stop or tire, that every shadow cast against you is a step for them to fall into their own traps. Repeat with me. I bless my path with the light of Saint Michael. I protect my spirit with the shield of Saint Gabriel. I decree that no binding or dark burial will touch me. I am a winner, I am light, I am invincible. May the universe hear my voice, and may divine justice always sustain me. Comment these words if you feel them in the depths of your being. Let your fingers touch the keyboard as if they were torches lighting the flame of your triumph. Give it a like so that this fire spreads, and subscribe to continue activating this celestial connection that today grants you sacred knowledge.